All right, today we're going to talk about nervous tissue. Well, actually, we did that already. We're going to talk about the parts of the brain. So the brain has four main parts to it. So this is your brain like so. Okay. There is the big part up top, what we call your cerebrum. There's a part here that runs in like this to the brain. This area, this part here is called the brain stem. There's a part that's hidden inside here, like so. This part is called the diencephalon. And then there's a part, the back of the brain, part back here, like so. This part back here is called the cerebellum. So you have four parts to the brain. The cerebrum, the big part here is cerebrum. Back here is cerebellum. And in the brain is a little stem part area called the brain stem. And then an area even higher up called the diencephalon. Those four parts of the brain, all right? So we're going to next look at brain tissue. So if we were to cut the brain, you would notice that the brain has two areas to it. So let me draw a brain cut this way. Okay, so like this. Just kind of look to it, like so. That's the brain cut that way. We have two halves to it, and so the outer part of the brain, the outer part here, that outer part of the brain is called gray matter because it's darker stained, and the interior part here is what we call white matter. Okay. So the gray matter part of the brain is due to the somas of neurons. That's where they hang out. So up here you have the somas of your neurons hanging out here, and then the axons will travel through here. So the white part is due to the myelinated axons as they pass through the brain tissue. Create white matter, gray matter. You also have some other areas inside the white matter. Like so, these pockets here inside the white matter that we call together, they're called your cerebral nuclei. Okay. So the gray matter is typically on the outside part. In fact, the outside part is normally what we call your cerebral cortex. Cerebral cortex is gray matter on the outside of the brain, and the inner gray matter areas are called your cerebral nuclei. Together, this is your gray matter. Okay. While the white matter is mainly axons, which are myelinated as they travel up and down from the cortex down to lower brain regions, such as maybe your spinal cord down here. They must travel down there. So let's next look then at where's my outline here? Sorry. We're going to look at your white matter. Okay. So the white matter area of the brain, your axons, more or less, come in three types. So you have axons called association fibers. Okay. These are axons that hang out in one half of the brain. So they go from one, like say, from this area to here. Like the more or less connect neighbors together inside the same half of the brain. So these are your association fibers. Then you have axons that cross over from one half of the brain over to the next. So they go like this. So these crossing axons that connect the left side to the right side of the brain, we call those your commissural fibers. Okay, these are your commissural fibers. Connect one half of the brain to the other side. Then we have a third type of tissue. You can't find any good colors here. Go blue again. That these fibers now will travel from up here, for example, here, and travel all the way down to your spinal cord or to your brainstem. We call these your projection fibers. So you have three types or three bundles of axons that tend to run throughout the brain. Fibers that go from neighbor to neighbor, call your association fibers. Fibers that go from one side to the next, call your commissural fibers. And fibers that run from the upper brain regions to lower brain regions, or even down to your spinal cord. So here we're going down to brainstem and spinal cord. Those are your fibers of projection. Okay. Now we're going to next look at, we'll pause here and then we'll continue.